Hey guys, welcome back to Kalei Plants. It's me again, Mark, and today we're back at the greenhouse with another video. For this one, we have new plants which we're gonna be unboxing, and also I wanted to share with you a topic that I thought about recently, and that is rating my succulents based on how good they are for business. Because I know a lot of you are also thinking about growing succulents for the purposes of selling them someday. So now I wanted to share with you my thoughts on that, on which succulents are the best for business or which succulents are good for investing, those that can propagate easily and can grow consistently so that you have something to sell later on, so that your hobby can also be a business. Now, not all succulents are very good investments, I would say, so let me just start with that. But first, let me just unbox this plant. Okay, so actually I have prepared here very different varieties of succulents, and we're just not gonna be focusing on our Crassulas plants, on our echeverias. So we're also gonna be highlighting some not so popular succulents in this video. Actually, this package came from one of the older sellers, older growers here in the Philippines, and that is Living Gifts. So this is actually the first time I bought from them this year. So Sir Dan had posted recently a new batch of aloes, and I managed to get 2 of them. And actually there are, wow, there's 3 of them right here. So he gave another giveaway. But oh wow, this is so pretty. Let me just put it up. This is so beautiful. And it's so big and shaking. Because this is the first time I bought collectible aloes, and this is actually the first time that I'm sharing an unboxing of aloes, probably here in the channel. Okay, here it is. Isn't that so stunning? It's just so beautiful on camera. Wow. So that's a white speckled aloe. Now, they don't usually post the names of aloes, but I think I can figure out a few names. I can think of a few names on this succulent, on this aloe. So yeah, we have that. Currently in the market here in the Philippines, some sellers will not be able to post the names of the aloes because they were collected a very long time ago. So yeah, this is the second one, and this one has a baby. Wow. Actually, I was supposed to buy only this one, but I think it would be sad getting shipped here in a box being alone, so I bought another one. Actually, the one that I chose have been sold already, and Sir Dan managed to find an identical one, and he managed to get me. This is a dark colored aloe with these really nice teeth on the sides, which is really stunning. Look at that. Isn't that so amazing? I've never seen aloes like this before in real life, so this is so nice. And it's got a little baby on the side. Okay, now I know if I title this video unboxing aloes, not a lot of people will be watching this, so I think that it would be nice if we can add a little info on plants. Okay, so this is the third one. This is a freebie. Wow, that's so nice. The speckles are so beautiful, so adorable. It's a small aloe. Now let me just give you an insight on aloes, because aloes have been in the succulent world for forever. They're one of the older plants that are collected, and aloes are particularly easier to grow compared with our other echeverias, with our graptopetalums. So aloes, I think by far are the easiest ones, easiest succulents to grow. Now I know a lot of my viewers are not yet growing aloes, maybe because they don't appreciate yet their beauty, but aloes are very varied as well, much like our echeverias. There are aloes that grow very tall, very big, and then there are aloes that just stay compact, like this one. This could probably be a very compact aloe, and this one, this could probably be a bigger one, a bigger type aloe. So there are a lot of different varieties. There are also a lot of very different colors. There are blue aloes, there are green ones, and then there are, I think, red and orange and some yellow green colored ones maybe. So there are a lot of different varieties of aloes. Actually, I have 2 of my aloes here. This is one of my older green aloes, which is common, and I have one that is much more rare. This is the aloe Erinacea, which is one of my latest newest aloes here, and it's still alive. Look at that, it's still thriving. So this is a gray green colored one, and I'm just so glad to add more to my collection. Okay, so now let's go over rating our succulents based on how good they are for business. So let me just pull the camera closer so that you can see. Okay, so it's better. So let's first start with our echeverias. Now, a lot of people think that echeverias are very easy to grow. This is an echeveria lawi, but that is not always true. Echeverias are actually very bad propagators. So that's what I would say for me in my care here in the tropics. So it might not be the same with all growers all over the world, but echeveria leaves are very stubborn. They're very hard to propagate, and if they produce pups, they take forever to grow because echeverias are actually very heat sensitive plants. Now we all know they are summer growers, but they don't take to high temperatures very well. So if they will propagate, they take time to propagate. They need a very mild weather so that they can propagate and then they can grow. And here in the Philippines, we have a weather that is not very good for echeverias. This is not the best ideal temperatures for echeverias. Our temperatures here in the Philippines, not the best. Maybe if you live in the highlands, that is much more fitting for echeverias, but here in the lowlands, or if you're living in the lowlands, the temperatures in your area might not always be the best for echeverias. You might have seen a lot of growers showing pictures of their echeverias online on Facebook, and you might see these really big succulents, but if those growers are living in the lowlands, they probably bought those plants as already big plants and they weren't grown in the lowlands for very long. So now I would just say that if the climate doesn't suit you, echeverias are not very good for business because they are very slow growing. And also this particular variety, the lawi, echeveria lawi, is also a slow growing variety of echeveria. So this takes time before it can grow, before it can mature, and before you can propagate it. And I would say that echeverias, because there are a lot of common echeverias right now, and there are those that are expensive, but I would say that as the plant becomes more expensive, it becomes harder to take care of. So now, an echeveria lawi, it might cost a lot, and then if you buy one, it will take you a longer time before you can propagate it. So now, that is not very ideal for those who are trying to grow plants for business, because as you progress to much more expensive plants, then you might not be able to grow a lot of them, and also it might be harder for you to get a hold of those plants because they get very expensive and they're not very easy to grow. So that's what I would say with echeverias. That's the same, I would say, with sedums. Now, sedums have a much more limited variety. Here in the Philippines, we have very few sedums to collect. So they are probably usually, they're not sold for very much. They're not very expensive plants. So if you're looking to buy succulents and you're looking to add to their prices, so you're looking to make profit out of them, you will not make a lot of profit when it comes to sedums because they can propagate very easily in the highlands, but they're ones that doesn't command a lot of attention and doesn't command a lot of marketability. Not a lot of people actually collect sedums, so it might not be the wisest choice for selling. So I've actually been looking around at growers here in Nueva Ecija, and I haven't seen a lot of people growing large sedums. So I don't think that sedums can grow very large here because of our climate, because of our temperatures, which is why I wouldn't recommend. If you're planning to invest on sedums and growing them and selling them, you might not be able to make a profit out of them, and you might not be able to grow a lot of these sedums, especially if you're in the lowlands. Now, I would say that there are better growing ones. There are faster growing succulents. This is an example, and that is a graptopetalum. Now, I would say if you like these rosette type succulents, graptopetalums are the best one because they're actually very fast growers. Once you get them to establish and to grow, they propagate very easily, much more quicker than your echeverias and your sedums. So I think that you can invest in graptopetalums, but I would say that you would have to really make them grow a lot, because selling small graptopetalums I don't think will be worth it because you won't be able to make a profit out of small plants. So you really have to make them big so that you can sell them for higher prices. Now on to Pachyphytums. Okay, I think this is the worst of the bunch. This is the slowest growing succulents of all varieties that I know. These are even slower than cacti, I believe. So maybe in colder temperatures they can grow faster. They're very good propagators, that's what I would say, because they have such thick leaves like this. This Pachyphytum compactum, all of the leaves that I've taken from here really propagated. But the pups, doesn't grow a lot very quickly, especially if you don't manage to root those pups from their leaves, so you won't be able to make a lot of babies out of a single plant. So these are very slow growing actually, and if you haven't managed to find a very good potting mix for them, then you won't expect a lot of growth with your Pachyphytums, though they can be very beautiful, they can be very thick, and also they can be priced much higher than your other succulents, but they are really slow growing succulents. I would say that the best one to invest in is graptoverias. So this is a graptoveria titubans, and this has produced a lot of growth in my care. So I think graptoverias are in the middle of echeverias and graptopetalums. They have that beauty of echeverias with their compact rosettes, and they also have that vigorous growth much like their graptopetalum parents. So graptoverias are actually very nice if you're looking to propagate a lot of plants and sell a lot of plants. So I would recommend graptoverias and graptopetalums. Now on to our more unusual succulents, those succulents that we don't usually discuss here in the channel. I would start with the Crassulas. So this is a sad looking Crassula tetragona. Now I find that stacking Crassulas are much easier to care for than leafy Crassulas. Now all Crassulas are leaf succulents, but not all Crassulas are stacking Crassulas. Not like this one. The tetragona and the barbecue are the stacking ones, and I've had very good success with stacking Crassulas. But those that are leafy Crassulas, much like the jade plant and other leafy types Crassulas, I think that they are very difficult to grow. I haven't had success with those. But stacking Crassulas, I believe, the campfire, the barbecue Crassulas, I believe that they are much more easier to care for. So you have to choose which Crassula you would like to sell, because they can also propagate very easily. Those stacking types, if you cut off a head of a stacking Crassula, you can just put it into a new potting mix and it will just root and it will grow again. So I think that's a good plant to grow, but not all the varieties of Crassulas are good. So the leafy ones I would not recommend. I haven't had success with all of my jade. The latest jade that I bought, the most recent one that I bought, is actually dead right now. So I've given up on jade plants, on jade style Crassula. So they are very difficult. But the stacking ones, very easy. If you can grow them big, like this one, this muscosa, if you can get them to mature, they can produce growth very quickly. Another one to grow if you're planning to propagate a lot is hawarthias. This is a hawarthia cymbiformis, I believe. So it's a hawarthia cymbiformis. It produces a lot of pups very quickly. Now I will probably be sharing with you more hawarthia videos soon. It's just that I'm having difficulty with my hawarthias because it's still very hot in my area. But I think that since we're going into winter, going into colder months, so I believe that hawarthias will be very good again. And also, if you can manage to choose a certain variety of hawarthia, you can find one that really pops a lot, really propagates a lot. Hawarthia cymbiformis varieties actually produces a lot of pups very quickly. So you can find a variety of hawarthia you can grow and you can sell, and they can probably be priced higher because they are not usually very common, especially with those that are very beginners. Not a lot of people are actually growing hawarthias. And also this plant, this hawarthia zebra, okay, I've never seen this one being sold for very cheap. It's always very expensive. Now I'm just gonna be making new videos about hawarthia soon, because I think that I'll be changing my care for them since it's their growing season again, and we can expect a lot of more growth with them, with those hawarthias. Now I would say that another good one for business is our kalanchoes. So this is a kalanchoe tomentosa, and you can see that this is one is a very recent purchase. Actually, currently with my current care methods and with my potting mixes, I've had a lot of success with my kalanchoes. They can be quite hardy plants. They can be very tough. Even if it's hot, I don't see a lot of my kalanchoes burning. So they're very good to care for. It's just that I don't think that I can propagate a lot of them yet. But I believe that if you can manage to grow them large, they will branch out, they will produce pups, so they can propagate very easily, which is why I would recommend kalanchoes. You just have to choose more expensive type of kalanchoes so that you can make profit out of them, because usually those ones that are very easily propagated, like your mother of thousands, mother of millions, they are very common, so you won't be able to price them up much higher. So you have to choose a nicer variety of kalanchoes so that you can make profit out of that. Also, we're gonna go to our next. This is actually a mishmash video. I've been just mixing up everything, but hopefully you get an idea with this one. Okay, so this one, Astrophytums. This one takes a little while before you can master them, and they're not always propagating very quickly because they don't branch out. They don't produce pups much like your other cacti, but they are very beautiful. You can propagate them via their flowers, which is you can do that if you have a lot of Astrophytums already and you can manage to pollinate them, because I believe they have a higher success rate with pollination, with producing seeds, and also with germination. So I believe the Astrophytums have a higher germination rate compared with other succulents, because you know, germination is the chances of a plant growing from a seed. And I've seen a lot of people breeding Astrophytums. So if you can manage to collect a lot of Astrophytums right away, right at the beginning of your succulent journey, you can expect to grow more Astrophytums soon once you get them to flower and once you get them to pollinate, because just one pollinated flower will actually produce a lot of babies out of those seed pods. So if you can manage to make your Astrophytum flower like this one, this is already flowering, and if you have other Astrophytums in your collection that you can cross-pollinate with, then Astrophytums are actually very good to grow. And also they can tolerate the climate here, the heat that we have. They can tolerate that. You can see this one. This is a very nice one. This grew a lot more recently, and you can see that the speckles are flawless, and it's really nice. It's really pretty. So this one has been growing in an almost full sun situation here in my greenhouse, and you don't see a lot of burning on that one. So I really like Astrophytums. But if you don't know how to propagate them via seed yet, you won't be able to propagate them yet. You won't be able to multiply them yet. So you have to collect a lot of them first before you can propagate them, which is why they're not good for those who are trying to sell succulents very quickly, because they're very slow propagators. But if you can get an Astrophytum that clumps, especially those that are grafted, much like our grafted moon cacti there. So if an Astrophytum is grafted, it can produce clumps, and those babies from that mother Astrophytum, you can also graft it onto a new cactus and you can produce new pups again from that. So I can say that grafted Astrophytum are actually very easy to propagate than those that are self-rooted. Okay, so this one is a self-rooted Astrophytum. But what I would say is that grafted Astrophytum are sold for much cheaper than those that are self-rooted. So self-rooted or seed-grown Astrophytum can be priced much higher than your grafted Astrophytum. So you just have to choose which Astrophytum to grow. And if you want to make a lot of profit, you can actually buy a lot of Astrophytums, make them grow, and make them flower. Okay, we're gonna go with our grafted cacti now. That this is the fastest one to grow and also the easiest one to make money out of, because a lot of growers here in Nueva Ecija actually produce grafted cacti, sell grafted cacti very quickly. They will usually buy a plant that is just one pup grafted onto a dragon fruit, and then in a few months it will already produce a lot of pups, and those pups they can graft onto new dragon fruit rootstocks, and then it will just grow, and then they can sell that already. So just think about buying this one plant, and already I managed to produce a lot of pups on this one. Think about how many plants I can sell from just this one plant. So that is already a lot. I can already multiply the money that I spent on this one. I can multiply it maybe 3 or 4 times. So that is already a lot of money to earn from this one plant. So that is actually a very wise way to invest. Moon cacti are really the best one to grow if you're planning to sell succulents, if you're planning to sell plants. And also grafted cacti can be priced higher depending on the variety of the plant. But usually, even if they are exotic varieties, because they're really not dependent on their own variety, they are dependent on the rootstock, they can be very easy to grow. Because as long as you can make your rootstock live, if you can make it survive, then the plant on top of it will survive. I'm actually wondering right now why I haven't bought a lot of cacti, because thinking about it right now, I've already spent a lot of money on my older succulents, and a lot of those older succulents actually just died, and I didn't make any profit out of them. But this one, I can already make profit out of this. So this is, I think, the wisest one to buy and the wisest one to invest in if you're planning to sell plants, especially succulents. And now, along with that, I would recommend the aloes right here. So this one, you can see this used to be one plant, but now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that right? So there's already 6 pups in here. This one is actually a very easy plant. Aloes are really the easiest succulent, the easiest leaf type succulent that I've cared for. They're much more easier than graptopetalums. I haven't had a lot of issues with them. I can let them grow in rain or shine locations and they will just live through it. So this one, actually I haven't been watering it, but I've been letting the rain get to it. And you can see that it just produced a lot of babies. So it's a very easy succulent, and this one can propagate very quickly as well. And I would say that with these ones, with these varieties especially, if your buyer, for example, if you're selling locally, and if people coming by at your place, if they don't know a lot about succulents, you can actually sell this for much more higher prices, these ones, compared to your common succulents. So if you can produce a lot of pups out of these expensive looking aloes, you can actually price them a lot higher, which is why I would really recommend that if you're planning to buy plants for investment, for business, I would really recommend you try aloes and you try grafted cacti first. Now, grafted cacti can be very expensive when you buy them for the first one, but once you manage to get pups out of them, then the profit can be very high as well. And I would say that the same goes with aloes. If you can buy expensive varieties of aloes, and if you can buy varieties that really just produce pups very quickly, then you can make a lot of profit out of your plants. So this one, for example, if I just fertilize this plant and let it grow, maybe in a few months I will be able to sell the same size of plant. So I will probably make twice the money that I spent on it. So that's already a lot of profit for a single plant. And also with that mammillaria, I can already make profit out of that. But with these ones, these common succulents that you're seeing here, I will not make a lot of profit of them because already there's a lot of sellers of these plants. So they can also be priced very cheaply, very quickly. So which is why I don't think that they're very good investment. And also really the more expensive type echeverias, they're very hard to propagate and they're very hard to grow. But this one, this moon cacti, very easy. Aloe, very easy. So which is why I would really recommend them if you're planning to buy succulents for investment. So I think that's about it for this video, guys. I really hope that you learned a lot with the stuff that I shared, and I hope that you like this plant set I unboxed. So you will be seeing more of them soon. We will be making more videos about aloes, hawarthias, and cacti soon. So make sure to subscribe down below so that you won't miss any of those videos. Make sure to hit the like, and also you can comment any of your questions. I will try to answer them as soon as I see them down below at the comment section. And I think that's about it for this video, guys. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.